Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today for Sketchbook Sunday, episode 29. Today I'm working in my Moleskine sketchbook and I'm working with charcoal. I have been using a lot of oil in my sketchbook lately for these Sketchbook Sundays, so I thought I'd switch things up a little bit and go back to charcoal. And I'm sketching a sort of like a study for a painting I had an idea to do. So I'm just going to do like a really rough sketch and then some flower studies, but yeah. Also, because it's spring, I am doing a spring discount in my art store. If you enter the discount code BLOOM, it will take 20% off your print order. That will be valid up until the end of this month. So at the end of March, the discount code will expire. And I love packaging your prints and sending them off to you with little thank you, extra free mini prints, and a note. And I really appreciate you guys supporting my work. Thank you so much. I also wanted to do a really quick Q&A and answer some questions that I received in the comments. If you guys have any questions, you can always feel free to leave them in the comments and I might answer them in a future Q&A, or I might just respond to you directly. So first question comes from May. She asks, what brand of paintbrushes do you use? So I'm not very brand particular. I kind of switch things around a lot. I use Royal and Langnickel. They're really awesome and I love them. Simply Simmons. There's another brand I really like called Creative Mark. They're actually really affordable and super cheap. They have like a type of brush called Black Swan. It's their line of brushes, synthetic brushes that are meant to replicate sable, which I believe is made of hog hair. And I don't like to use brushes that are made of animal hair because I don't want to support an industry that exploits animals. And usually they get their hair from the fur industry, which is just awful. And if you really want to know what happens, feel free to do your research. But that's just my personal choice and why I personally use synthetic brushes. It just aligns with my morals. Next question comes from Jitender. I'm sorry I butchered your name. Thank you for the compliment. And he asks, are you single? No, I am not single. I am very happily in a relationship and it's going really well. So nope, sorry. Melissa asks, do you have any tips for how to price commissioned artwork? I think this is kind of tough to answer because I don't have a specific ground rule. I think it's all completely individual. It depends on where you are in your art career, where you are as an artist, how much of a demand there is for your art, how long it takes you to complete an artwork or a painting. How detailed is the painting that somebody is looking for? Are they looking for something that, has one face? Are you painting multiple people? Are there a lot of background details? Are there a lot of clothing details? So it really all just depends. I would figure out per hour, how long it takes you and how much you want to pay yourself. When I first started out, I was paying myself like minimum wage and sometimes less than minimum wage. And I very quickly learned that it's not fair to yourself. If you have a skill that somebody is paying you to use, a skill that they don't have, I wouldn't just go completely cheap, but that's what I did because I don't know, I was very humble and I guess I still am. I still price my originals much lower than what you see in a lot of art galleries and a lot of really established artists. I still go a bit cheaper than that. But, it really depends. I wish I had a guideline of an answer for you, but I don't. I would figure out how much you want to get paid per hour, and then in the final result, if that sounds fair to you, depending on how large that painting is, factor in your material costs and all those things. There's really, I don't know, I don't have a specific guideline, but at this point, I'm not taking commissions because I just don't have the time for it. I'm very busy on multiple projects. And, if there's a project that comes up that I'm really, really excited about, then I will accept the commission. But at this point, I just can't. So I'm sorry if I completely didn't answer your question, but thank you for your question. Sandeep asks, do you practice before painting the real thing? Kind of. Like, for some paintings, I'll sketch a study of something that's in the painting, or I'll sketch out an outline of the painting, sort of like I'm doing in this Sketchbook Sunday episode. You can see the cropped face with the hand and the flowers. Very abstract sketching style. kind of scribbly, nothing too precise, very rough lines, and I guess you can say that's sort of like practicing, but it's really just getting a feel for things. I don't make practice paintings before making final paintings. I just either sketch, I'll do like little studies of things that I want to paint or include in the painting, but not for all my paintings. For most of my paintings, I don't actually do that, but for a lot of them, I do. It really just depends on how I'm feeling. Rachel asks, question, why do you keep your paint palette on the left when you are right-handed? I don't know. Sometimes I want it to be on the left. Sometimes it just feels more convenient. Sometimes I keep my palette on my right and then I end up getting my hand in it. So for me, it's just to like avoid getting paint on my hand, because if I'm so into painting, sometimes I just lose track and I'll make a mess of myself, and I've dipped my hand onto my palette and into the paint so many times. It's even happened on camera before. So yeah, I think it's just to avoid that, but it definitely is more convenient keeping it on the right side, but I don't know, I switch it up, so I think that's why. But again, I don't have a direct answer for you. The Cat's Meow asks, by the way, I just love that username. I love it. Thank you for making that awesome username. The Cat's Meow asks, what sketchbook are you using here? Well, for every single, this was actually a comment on a different Sketchbook Sunday, and for all of my Sketchbook Sundays, I am using my Moleskine sketchbook. This is a sketchbook that is intended for drawing. It was not made for oil painting or other mediums. However, I'm a rebel child, and I found a way to use oils in it. I have a video about that called How to Use Oils in a Sketchbook. I basically just talk about how I gesso the page, and that's basically it. And if you use gesso on the page, it'll give the paint something to bind to instead of the paper. And if you don't use gesso and you use oil on a plain drawing sketchbook, it's just gonna seep through the page. It's gonna be like this oily stain on the back side of the page, and it's just not a fun time. So if you do want to work in a sketchbook, first of all, make sure that the paper is thick enough. It won't really work that great on really thin, light, loose paper. It needs to have a little bit of weight to it. Otherwise, it will warp out of control. And my sketchbook still actually warps a little bit, but it's not too bad. Nothing crazy, nothing that I can't work around. And I don't mind it. I kind of like the used sketchbook look as opposed to a brand new, fresh sketchbook. I like when it looks like it's got tons of art in it. Just gives it more character. So, just my opinion. Well, that is it for this Sketchbook Sunday. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I'm wishing you a beautiful week with lots of inspiration, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.